Hi everyone and welcome to another hashtag Ask Jim, and this is episode number 31 and we are live at the conference centre at the lovely Mooroolbark in Victoria. It's a bit cold tonight, but this is at the Foothills Conference Centre and we have all our lovely prospective franchisees and all future gyms in the audience. I think we had around 60 in training, which was a great number. So welcome and thank you for coming along. And what we do on these ones when we have training is we have a bunch of questions here, and there's a lot of questions and we're going to basically throw to the audience, and when I say your name, if you can just, Mike on the mic will come over and hand you the mic, you just say your name and we'll read out the question. So I'm just going to run through a few housekeeping before we get started. So thanks to everyone who used the Ask Jim a question, which we have on the website now. Well, under Meet Jim, there is hashtag Ask Jim. You can literally ask Jim a question and we're going to put it onto the show tonight. We also have a dedicated podcast, which we're starting to film tomorrow, which basically all the questions that have been brought up in here in the past, we generally go through really, really quickly. So we're going to try and pick some ones that Jim is really passionate about and expand on them. And there'll be a video podcast available and the Jim's Cast as well on the iTunes Store and Spotify. Now, basically, in 2 weeks' time, remember, we have this show, which will be at the Jim's Cleaning head office out in Broadmeadows. And this is where we have the Jim's 45-day challenge with Hayder Hussein. And we're going to put him on the scales and see how if he's met his goal. So
he's lost a bit.
He's lost a bit. He's looking pretty good. Yeah, so he's trying all these different things. I think we just posted on socials him in a hypoxy, heated up blanket. So he's trying everything. So make sure 25th, if you're on Broadmeadows, get out to the cleaning office.
Cold's better for losing weight than heat. I don't know how heat's supposed to make you lose weight.
Well, he's giving everything a crack. So he's infrared saunas, everything. So
cold showers, I reckon, is the best thing.
Yeah, which you do every morning. I think if you watch the Day in the Life with you can see, and I don't know how you do it. I could not do it. And also tonight, guys, we have books. So the favourite questions, we have around 3 or 4 of these books here. So we're going to try and give to one online and probably give the 3 in the audience here based on the question that Jim likes the best. And if you haven't seen the Day in the Life yet of Jim, there's on our Facebook page, there's a 45-minute where we follow Jim around from 7 a.m. till 9 o'clock, and also a mowing franchisee. So if you are becoming a new mowing franchisee or interested in that division, there's a great one with a guy called Matt Thorpe, and that goes for around an hour. We'll start from the start to the end of the day. That's on our YouTube channel and Facebook. Now, Jim, let's start first. So I don't know if everyone is aware during the week, but there was a bit of controversy. A bit of controversy with Alan Jones, and I know because all the Ask Jim questions come through to me, so I see all the comments that are left through for there and multiple social channels. So maybe, Jim, we'll open the floor up and we'll start off there.
Yeah, all right. Just what happened was that somebody emailed me, it must have been about Friday, Saturday, and asked me to stop advertising to support Alan Jones. And I didn't react very well to that because I admire Alan Jones in a lot of ways. I agree with a lot of what he says. He's got a lot of fairly traditional views, which I like. And so I just blew my stack and said I'm not going to do it. Now the actual fact is that I don't personally advertise with Alan Jones anyway. It was the New South Wales Mowing people, and until that time I didn't even know that they advertised with Alan Jones. But so I did that. And of course, all hell broke loose because there's this massive torrent of stuff coming in, and but it was interesting experience because obviously some people came in and they got my email address too, which we give out very readily, and they started to.
You got a lot of emails, didn't you?
I got a lot of emails, and a lot of them were just really abusive and nasty, and I just clicked them off, and I really couldn't give a stuff. I mean, that just made me more angry and determined. But some people started to write in, and they just expressed their view, and I responded to them, and they started responding to me, and there was these 2 or 3 lovely ladies, and they were just talking about the issue, and I came to understand it really wasn't about the politics at all. It wasn't so much they were trying to shut down a conservative views, but it was against the way that he expressed them, the lack of civility, the way that he made this very crude comment about Jacinda Ardern, Prime Minister of New Zealand, and things of that nature, and I guess after a while I started looking at it and said, well, basically, yeah, I don't like that either. So I just switched around, and so on Monday I contacted the mowing franchisor and said, look, I don't think we should be supporting Alan Jones because of these kinds of comments, not because of his traditional views, which I agree with, but because of the way he says these things. And, could you approach your guys and see if they'll agree to withdraw it? So it was an interesting lesson, actually. And in a sense, it's the same lesson because what Alan Jones does, he has certainly good ideas, in my view, but because he expresses them in such a violent and crude way at times, to me, it's a turn-off. And one of the things one of these ladies said, I think her name was Stephanie or Sharon or something like that, was that she had a problem with the lack of civility in discourse, that you have this right and left wing, people having a go at each other. And I sort of mistakenly got into that. And I think people should listen to each other.
Yeah, they screenshotted your email and put it in the group of, I think, around 55,000 people, which wasn't the best. Because I know I stayed up to around 2 a.m. on the Monday trying to go through comments and all this sort of stuff, and because I didn't know where we stood on it, what was going on. And obviously, it affected franchisees, which is obviously the bad.
Well, a couple of people actually lost jobs, which concerned me. But I think what's unfortunate is that neither of these guys supported. They didn't agree with Alan Jones. They were just caught by the flat, and that was pretty unfortunate, I think.
Yeah, and the ladies in the call center, I think I took you over there on the, was it on the...
Yeah, I know, I felt sorry for them, they could have been a flat too. But I mean, anybody could email me if they wanted to, but people who got through to me were the ones that mattered in the end.
I think you've probably learnt the power of social media with that one, so that was quite...
I'll be a bit more careful with what I share in the future.
Yeah, definitely.
I just got angry, actually. I really felt people were pushing me and they were trying to shut down a conservative voice, and that's what annoyed me. I just didn't think about what was being said, and then when I really feel appreciative of these women who did it, Kelly and Sharon. I think there was one called Stephanie. Just engaged a bit, and yeah, I agree.
Well, to be fair, I think you probably have. I think it's like 107 advertised or companies who have withdrawn their support now, or something like that. And to be fair, I reckon when I went through and looked, I looked for a lot of stuff. I looked at all the comments, and you're probably the only CEO who actually responded to anyone. Generally, what would happen, they might say, "Oh, our marketing department, or we don't support whatever," and it could be someone, a junior in the team, but I think you were probably the only CEO who actually responded to people and took the time to respond to people. So I don't know if there's any positive to come out of it, but I think in regards to that, just showing you how powerful I guess the platform can be, and to that group as well. We appreciate them putting up. I think they put up a copy of the emails, which you sent back to them, and I just showed you before we went on live tonight. So
I would say to anybody, even if they don't. If the Mowing people will not take that down, it's not something I can control, because our system puts all the advertising control is controlled by the regional franchisors in each division. So if you're going to boycott anybody, boycott Sydney Mowing, not the other divisions.
Well, we hope no one from Sydney Mowing is here. We do not say that at all. But
I just say it's not them.
Yeah.
More emails coming now.
Yeah. Well,
I hope they'll do it. I just think, and I would like to see Alan Jones tone down what he says to the extent that it could be used again, because he reaches an important audience.
Well, I had to look it up. I didn't know. I knew the name, and when I saw a picture of him, I knew that. And he's a bit of a sensationalist and uses that platform.
I've never listened. I've never heard him. I've never listened to him. All I know is what he writes in the Australian, which I like. That's my comment.
I'll have to get a bit of a crash course on him after you sent that email back, because I didn't know what exactly was going on. But look, that shows you the power of the group sometimes, and shows you the power of what people can do. So I think they've got around 107 companies to withdraw advertising on that thing. So I don't know if there's any stopping.
I think he might have to listen after this.
Well, I hope he does. I hope he doesn't be stubborn.
Because it really wasn't his views as such. It was the way he expressed them. It was the violence of his views and this kind of thing that really got people upset. And that upsets me. I don't like it either.
Eric goes to me from Jim's Mobile Cafe Victoria. Joel, you need to control him better. I can't control his email. I don't get Jim and Jim's on that email. So, but I think if anyone ever wants to email Jim to continue, it's just, anything. Meet Jim. There's a tab there. Learn all about Jim with his videos, and it has your personal email address there, which I don't think anyone else, in terms of a CEO of a company of our size, will make that transparent. And I know
it's very useful actually. There's a whole lot of divisions in gyms that come about because somebody emails me, because I'm an easy person to reach, and then I have a bit of chat with them, and if it seems feasible, I'll engage them further, and we'll give them to my team for new divisions, and we'll have a look at it. So, and of course, it's great that my franchisees can reach me too, and even members of the public if they've got problems and stuff. I find being contactable has many advantages. I do spend a lot of time on emails.
A lot of changes are initiated by generally a franchisee emailing you, because I know you send it to the staff member internally. You can maybe do something about it. The franchisee sees it in and all that sort of stuff. And
well, it's very rare that a week goes by that we don't change something in the system because the franchisees contacted me. I think there's a couple of things this week. One of them was that the franchisees couldn't see the services that they're not able to do. And that I didn't realise that actually, and so I got IT to fix it.
Yeah.
So they can now see all their services. Now they might have to get permission from the franchisor to do it, but at least they know what's available and what's coming in.
Yeah, exactly. And if there's licensing requirements, or why aren't I down for that, or because you haven't done this license or whatever, then they can get the service.
But that's just a minor example, but it's
sure.
It's useful.
So anyone watching from that group, we hopefully address that for you, and so we'll move on there. If there's any more comments or questions regarding that in there, we'll try and answer them depending on what they are. Okay, so what I'm going to do is try and get to some comments or questions from the live feed. So Dave is tuning in from Jim's Dog Wash, Kim McGavick from Dog Wash NZ, Hodo Hussein, who is from Jim's Cleaning, divisional franchisor, has gone, I love on my treadmill at home. I'm staying on till the end. Keep it short.
Oh, good man. Hey, now, keep it up. Come on. Melt off those kilos. We want to see you slim and
He's looking all right. He's doing pretty well. I think he's going to be on track.
He's doing a great job. You can actually see him shrinking. He was a lot thinner when I first knew him before he started gyms. He got too successful, I reckon.
Yeah, that's true. Enjoying too much of the good life.
Well, he was a cleaner. He was just cleaning. He was physically cleaning houses and offices and stuff when he came into gyms. And then since then, he's obviously got this giant business with 800 franchisees. So he spends months a year on his mansion in Cyprus. And
I'm sure he'll like you saying that.
But the life is too easy. So get puffing on that treadmill.
He'll be right. And Jim's dog watching Greening. Hi, Kim and Dave. And hi, Jim and Joel. So thanks for tuning in. James Halligan is becoming a new franchisee actually in New South Wales for Mowing. So you'll be right, James.
Well, James, you have your view.
Yeah, and David,
make yourself heard.
And David Rump says hi as well. And there's a question here from James that's gone, what is the system for sponsoring a kid's football team? Is this possible?
You have to get votes from the franchisees to agree to it. The reason there's a problem with that is because we had one case where a large chunk of the advertising money was spent on a football team and a life-saving club, and it just so happened that these were two of his kids were actually heavily involved. So we're not against sponsorship, but you've got to get franchisees to agree. So if you want to advertise online or in the newspapers and stuff, you can do whatever you like.
As long as it's voted on.
No, that's just allowed.
Okay.
But if it's anything like a sponsorship, which could have a bit of a conflict of interest, then the franchisees have to have a say.
So there's a anonymous vote on it, and then basically that determines if it can be done or not.
You've got to get support from the franchisees before you can do that.
Cool, there you go. And Philip Martin goes, shout out to Philip Martin in the live audience. That guy's a champion. Thanks, Philip, for putting your comment in there. All right, so I'll run down a few of the comments here.
Where's Philip Martin?
He's over there. Oh, he's over there. Oh, well done.
I was just having dinner with Philip before. We were having good talk about it.
So anyone leaving some comments, we can see them in the live feed, so feel free to put them in and get some engagement up. So Leroy Griffiths has gone here, woohoo, I love Jim. That's good, Leroy. And we'll go down to a few of the comments coming here through now. David Tabley goes, Jim, how'd you become such a legend, ? We always get an icon, legend, something like that every week.
Should be like a $50 bill.
A mythical figure who never really existed. I know whether being a legend is.
Yeah, well, he's right here, so he's still here. Henry Finlay's gone, hi, what's the chances of getting a Jim's removals at Port Macquarie, New South Wales? Well, the chances are good, just 131546 or jims.net, become a franchisee. I don't think we've got anyone up there at the moment, so it'll be a vacant
removals
area.
is not taken off in the way that we would have hoped.
Well, maybe he'll be the person to take it off.
You got removals over there? Port Macquarie. Removal? No.
I could move into it.
So there we go. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to get to the questions. So thanks to everyone who took the time as I pick up my stuff, who submitted a question to Mike and Rachel before. So I've got Leon here first. Where's Leon? I love this question because I know where it's going to go.
So they never tell me in advance. You never tell us what they're going to be. They want to surprise me.
That's correct.
So Jim, you are looking to lose a bit of weight. When are you going to put a Jim's gym at the head office?
I am a little bit more weighty than I like to be. I need to lose another couple of kilos. Ask the bloody council! We've been trying to get a gym here for 3 years. 3 years.
I knew you'd get your fighter.
Thank you for that one. Yarra Ranger Council is the worst in the state.
Yeah. No, they are. Don't worry. We actually ran some Facebook ads actually with some of this. This happens every week. We get Jim talking about the council. So
it's infuriating because every time we get our feedback sheets, we get again and again, want a gym. Don't ask me, tell them.
So Yarra Rangers Council, and the lady called you up and you gave it to her, and then we're back to square one again. So it's not going to...
Yeah. She threatened to hang up on me because I was yelling at her.
Well, they need to get the approvals through and away we go. So.
Just try a bit harder, people. Thank you.
Thanks for that question. I knew they'd get the blood going. And David Baker's going, g'day team, watching from the accommodation at the training centre and ate too much food. So thanks, David, for that comment. We appreciate it. Yes, and Jim for a gym, hashtag, that's correct.
Yes, it's a bad place. This place is bad if you want to lose weight. I find a real struggle.
No, the food is great. So we get into the next question here, which is directly related to that. Alex, where's Alex? So you're from Jim's Cleaning, Alex? Yep, cool.
Hi, Jim. Hi, Jim. How many Ks do you do on your treadmill?
So how many Ks do you do on the treadmill?
Usually 5. I'm not super fit. If you want to see somebody super fit, this lady over here, she gets up at 5 o'clock every morning, an hour and a half. I was playing squash with her this morning. Fortunately, she's a bit rusty in her shots. But jeepers, is she fast?
So he's pointing
It's
to
like grease lightning going down the table. I thought I've got that one for sure, and she goes and gets it.
So he's pointing to one of our regional franchisors in the audience,
Yeah, that's
Rachel Mouncer, who's
Rachel Mouncer, yeah.
very, very athletic. So,
She is too.
but I reckon when she practices up, she might be able to beat you. I think you beat her today, didn't you?
I think once she gets her shots in order, I wouldn't have a chance, quite frankly.
And I keep practicing.
Got to keep practicing.
So there's your motivation for the next training, Rachel. Thanks for that question. Okay, we've got Flavio. Where's Flavio?
From Canada.
Jim's Mowing, Canada. Beautiful.
Yes. Thank you, Jim. Thank you. Jim, a question for you. Your company has already 54 divisions, and do you intend to add more?
Oh, as many as possible, yeah. But the thing about a division, Flavio, is that it's not really a matter of having an idea. It's a matter of having the right person to run it. We've got some really superb divisional franchisors who drive it. People like Sharon Connell from Dog Wash, or Haydar from Cleaning, or Phil Comerford from
Paul Comerford.
not
Paul
Phil.
Comerford,
Paul
yeah.
Comerford.
Paul,
I don't know his
from
name.
Jim's
do
Building
I?
Inspections.
Building Inspections. And Brett Blair
Brett Blair from Pool Care, yeah.
is great. So you've got some really, really good divisionals. So that's really the key to it. Because there's not much point having a division where there's only got 2 franchisees in. That's just embarrassing. We want divisions that are going to work. People have got that ambition to drive to make it spread all across the country, and it's a great opportunity. Anybody's got anybody in business wants to have a business that's really great and has that fire and that passion and that desire to, really make our franchisees successful. Gee, we could do with them.
And it's not dependent on the service, is it? Because you wouldn't think, like, for example, building inspections in 2011 started up, and that was one where you might have been a bit sceptical about. Now it's the largest in Australia by a mile with 100 plus.
It's a brilliant division. It really is, and they've got great people. We actually had a lot of people do work for us too in building inspections, and they are brilliant. My wife actually employs one of their franchisees. She says he's absolutely fantastic, knows so much. So you just got to have the right people, and everything is the right people is the hardest thing to find. The right leaders, and you've got a great leader, then something will work.
Yeah, it tends to work like that, Flavio. If the person up here is really good, it just flows down and just goes like that. So if you get the top person right, it always tends to work. So Paul King's gone in with a question on, just interrupt here. He's gone, ask Mike if anybody's messing with his pens in the training, OCD. So Mike Davenport's off camera. Don't like your pens? No? The answer is no, not yet, Paul King. So maybe you have to come down and do it for him. We've got Rob Ellis tuning in. Batteries from Warrigal is here as always. Thanks, Rob, for tuning in. Steve Walken, hi from Canberra. So Steve Walken's a cleaning franchisor up there. Okay, let's get to another question. So where is Gary? This is a great one. We haven't had this one before. Which division are you going to be, Gary?
Jim's Mowing, Sydney.
Jim's Mowing, Sydney. Right. Here we go. Well, you might have to do the 2 times leads or something to help him out. I'll tell you what, jeez.
I actually asked Jim this last night. Rachel's making me ask it again.
Yeah.
Have you ever been approached by private equity firms to sell out?
Nah.
And what would your answer be?
Well, I mean, if somebody offered me $1 billion, I'd probably sell because it's not worth that much. just give me 10 times what the most my company's worth, and I might think about it. But I love gyms. I mean, and it's growing very fast. It's growing very well. It's doing incredibly well. It's great fun. So the only way I'd sell it if somebody gave me a really insane offer that was just unrefusable, and then I could use it to fund my research projects, which is really my ultimate passion in life. But it's never going to happen. Because the more successful it becomes, the more ridiculous price I want for it. So I'm going to be here till I drop, and I think Jim's will certainly survive me.
Yeah, we always get that question. You'll never retire, so we'll make that clear.
Who wants to retire?
Yeah, I do, but that's all right.
I can't even stand it. I find it hard. I find Christmas holidays hard. You get about a week between Christmas and New Year when things start happening. I find that really difficult to cope with.
Yeah, you struggle with the concept of holidays, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, you don't like them.
My wife wants me to go overseas to like I hate flying and I hate holidays.
Well, you got a region. Well, that one when you actually did go to Thailand, you got a regional for bin cleaning out of that, which was the guys up in Cairns.
Did I really?
They actually saw you speak at the conference when you went.
Well,
there.
the thing about Thailand.
So maybe you should go to Thailand more regularly.
I went to Thailand,
and stuff like that.
but I was talking. I was running seminars there because that's how we pay for the whole thing. And I was doing my emails and I was making phone calls and stuff. So I didn't have to have a holiday. But my family could go to Thailand on a holiday. That was why it was good.
You didn't go down to the beach or anything like that?
I think I might have seen the beach, but
Right. There we go. All right. So thanks for that question. Where's Andrew? This is a good question as well.
Hi, Jim. Have we got a Jim's reward card?
No, Jim's reward card. Have we got a Jim's reward card?
reward card for who?
Customers, I would say. For customers? Yeah. For customers and for franchisees.
Well, we don't do things like that for customers on the whole because our problem is we've got too many customers. And not too many overall, but we don't find it very difficult to find customers, so we don't tend to discount them. So that's something you never do in gyms. We never discount. We don't have pensioner discounts. We don't have anything. If anything, we try and persuade our franchisees to charge more when they get busy. So we try to do things for franchisees. I mean, like...
And we're going to talk about the deals for prospective franchisees and for people of the gym's family. What are the deals for them? Like with insurances, for example?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we just got a deal today from, I just saw today from BP. You get 5 cents per litre off petrol. And it's about $2.50 cost. This is going to go out in the newsletter. $2.50 a month for his card, and you can actually pay on an app sitting in your car. So you put the petrol, and you can pay for it in your car. So you don't have to get out of your car to pay for it. And it's got all this record keeping and proof and all the rest of it. So it's a great deal. But 5 cents per litre is a great one. So I reckon I'm going to get that one.
Yeah, and your dock packs as well. You get a preferred suppliers list as well, and there's heaps of stuff on that as well.
And all the discounts on we get very good deals on insurance, obviously. New vehicles we get great deals on. We got special deals at Bunnings.
Yeah, the Bunnings, the Power Pass. Yeah,
we've got all the special gyms deals on that. So and people come to me all the time and they want deals. And obviously Torben's is fantastic. Got 35% off paint. There's some franchisees who actually save far more in paint than they actually pay in fees.
Well, they get rebates, I think, from them for using Torben's. They use it for their fees. So that's how that one works.
Yeah.
For some
well, no, the way it works is Torben said they want to get 35% off the cost to the franchisees and 10% to us. I said, well, we can't take the 10%. And they said, you have to give it. I said, take it off the franchisees. And I say, you have to give it to you. Our system won't allow you not to. So what we've had to do is to take the 10% and give it as a rebate against their fee.
Yeah, that's what happens. Yes, that's correct.
Because our own systems won't allow us to take money out of it.
And I think what we're looking as well for the customer side, we actually are looking at maybe ramping up our EDM, which is our electronic email marketing. We generally do a monthly newsletter, but we're going to look at something where we might do maybe even a weekly thing, and one of those might have specials and offers for customers and stuff like that. So that's something we're looking at as well. So that will be down the track, which is not too far away, hopefully. So I'll just get to a few comments on the live feed here, which are coming through. So Jason Polak from Jim's Pool Care, evening Jim and Joel. G'day, Jason. We got a nice interview by the pool, having a few beers, which you put up today. Matthew Dwyer, thanks for my book. No worries, Matt. And then Sal's tuned in again. Jill Storr, he's going to give a Powerball ticket for tonight. Have you ever played Lotto, Jim? Never asked you that one. No, never played Lotto.
I never ever gamble when the odds are against me. Never gamble. Now, business is a gamble. You spend money on something, but you do it when your odds are in your favour. That's the kind of gambling I like. And I always listen to what my dad said: never gamble where you can't afford to lose.
That's true. Which is why you don't insure many items, for example.
No. Yeah. None of our company cars are insured.
Yes, I know, because I drive one. Yeah.
And you drive very carefully, don't you?
Sometimes, yes. Yeah, I do drive very carefully.
Yeah, no tires.
Well, watch it.
Yeah, that's all right. I've heard a few phone calls from staff. I remember Aaron back in the day used to work here. When he crashed the car, he rang you up and he said, "Oh, Jim, I've just rear-ended someone in the Navara." Oh, okay, just be more careful, and then basically hang up on him. So that's our insurance company. Who are you insured with? I'm insured with Jim. Give Jim a call. Put down your mobile number.
Well, I think most staff probably do take a little bit more care than the otherwise would, because if they know their bosses are going to pay for it, I'm not likely to be too impressed. But I mean, if somebody has a once-off accident, that's one thing. If they make a habit of it, they're going to be in a bit of strife.
Yeah. That's true. So I'll get to a few of the comments in the live feed, and I'll get to one of these in a minute as well, because there's a few coming through which are really cool. So Jim's Mobile Cafe Victoria's gone, "Joel, could you please apologise to your co-workers as I forgot to ask them if they wanted coffees today?" And shout out to Ricky Jurgens, who is not only signed her Jim's dog wash and grooming contracts today, but she also got.
And if anybody out there wants a great coffee and hot chocolate delivery, Jim's Mobile Coffee is fantastic.
Yeah, Eric's
My
great.
friend Eric will do it for you.
And congratulations, Ricky.
All the staff here are getting. He comes around and gets orders.
Yeah.
We have 80 people on this site.
And his wife now dog wash and grooming franchisee as of today, which is cool. And happy birthday to Ricky. So Shane Chantum's gone for the question. "Hi Jim, with the huge amount of franchisees across the group, which should give the group an amazing buyer power, is there an opportunity to approach a fuel company for a discount?" So obviously we've had one approach us, but...
Well, the best one we got is BP. There was another one we had from Woolworths, and they had for this car, but it was like $3.95 per month, and you only get a 4 cents per litre discount. And I said to them, 4's not good enough. I'm not going to put it to my franchisees unless you give it 5. So now BP's come in with 5 cents. So we'll go with them. It's a better deal. It's only $2.50 per month and 5 cents per litre.
And details will be in the next newsletter?
Yes.
All right, cool. All right, and another question here from Patrick Butler, which is a great one for everyone here as well to hear. Hi, Jim. Was wondering if we could get something in the pipework to make it easier for us to receive payments from bad payers or clients that owe money instead of using debt collectors. Something that doesn't cost us money and using the power of gyms.
That's really a debt collection business, isn't it? I mean, I wouldn't mind Jim's debt collection. Well, the thing about it is,
Centering a couple of big
you've already got
gyms in
nearly 4,000 potential clients straight away. If you look at a really cost-effective way to do it, it'd be a great business. It's like Jim's bookkeeping. Jim's bookkeeping gets a lot of business from the Jim's franchisees, or Mobile Coffee, same thing, because we like to use each other. So there's a very big internal market.
Well, I know if the contracts work, they pay before and then they contracts department go and get the money later on. So I know that's sort of in place for that contract work for your national contracts.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's with Hadar's team.
But that's not because they're bad debt. It's just
It's just a way of, and then they'll chase them up because sometimes they pay really slowly, some of those bigger commercial clients.
Yes.
So it's a good idea, Patrick, and thanks for putting that one in there. So we'll get to another question here in the hands. Now, where is it, Dwayne?
Yep.
Regarding, Dwayne.
Thanks, mate. How do you keep it with all the 50 odd divisions you got now, Jim? How do you manage to stay in touch with it all?
Well, I don't know that I do really. I've got people who look after things. I mean, effectively, the secret of a business like mine is having good people to rely on. I don't actually get involved in a lot of the nitty gritty of how to run things. I'm not a great line manager. I'm more I wander around the office and talk to people. Actually, if you see day in the life, if you want to have a look at that, it shows what I do pretty accurately. I spend a lot of time on emails and dealing with things, and I just walk around the office and chat and say, how are you going with things and so forth. And if people have got a problem, they can contact me. So I kind of keep an eye on what's going on. But I mainly rely on having quality staff. And really, one of the things I talk about service to franchises, service to clients, but actually service to staff is very important too. You've got to look after staff. So we have Friday lunches, for example, which the staff quite like. And it's just in the conference centre, and they come over and have a nice meal once a week. And that's also the reason, I mean, it's not just for the franchisees, it's for the staff that I want to have this swing, heated pool and all the rest of it. Because it's a benefit for being on site, makes it an attractive job.
You're a pretty trusting boss, though, which can have its downsides as well, because you might trust someone to do a job, then after a year you might think, they're not doing the job, but because it's a small company, I guess you do find out pretty quickly.
Yeah, I tend to know whether people are effective. I don't micromanage people. I mean, I do trust somebody to do their job, and it does become obvious after a few months at least that they're not doing it.
I think with the divisional problems, you get them flagged when franchisees email you directly. That's generally how it puts a spotlight on the other ones, and that's when you sort of get more involved with that division.
Yeah. Well, it's like insurance, for example. I mean, I go and have a chat to Adrian pretty well every day of the week, but I don't directly supervise what he does. But if any franchisee has a problem with insurance, they ring me up and I walk down to Adrian with the phone in my hands and say, Adrian, what's going on? So it kind of tends to keep people on their toes. And the same thing with any staff, like documents or like finance or IT or anybody. If they know that anybody can approach me and I'm going to go and ask questions. It actually tends to, because of that communication role, it tends to get people, on their toes.
You do put people on the spot, because when people email you, you might just forward it to, let's say me, for example, and CC the franchisee and say, why is this the way, ? And I've got to respond. Or you might walk up to the desk with a phone in your hand and go, what's going on here, with someone on speakerphone. So you do it a lot. It's a bit unorthodox, but throws you off a bit. But yeah.
It's a different sort of place to work, isn't it?
It is. Well, that's true. That's very true. But I've been here for 8 years and I like it. That's a great question. So thanks for that one. So we've got a question here from Mitchell. This is a great question. See where Jim takes this one.
Jim, is this business a $1 billion business yet?
Is it worth $1 billion?
Yes.
Oh, I wish.
A $1 billion business.
No, nothing like that. The BRW tried to interview me for the Rich 500, and I said, "You've got to be joking. I'm not even worth a fraction of what those guys are." It seems huge, but it's a very trickle down thing. Somebody mows a lawn for $40. I might end up with 40 cents if I'm lucky. It's because first of all, our fees are pretty reasonable. Most franchises only pay about 8%. Most of that actually goes to the franchisor, obviously the marketing budget, the admin centre, and then the national office has quite a lot of expenses. So look, I'm obviously I'm not on the dole or anything, but I'm not as rich. I'm a lot more famous than I'm rich. Put it that way.
I think the value is really in the brand equity. So
Yeah.
the logo, which is probably holds all the real value, the brand equity or the brand IP, whatever you want to call it. That's probably where and every time someone does a good job, that adds to the brand value all the time.
So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The whole, is it worth $1 billion, the whole business overall?
But what would you sell it for
no.
then? Maybe put it that way.
$1 billion.
$1 billion. Well, there we go. Well, Jim's only sell for $1 billion. So yeah.
But if somebody was to make me a serious offer, it might be in the region of say $40-50 million, based on on a fairly high valuation. That's based formally. It's not that. It's not that rich a company in that sense. I remember I used to employ a guy from Johnny King, the American-based cleaning franchise, and he was astonished when he saw my figures. He said, "You realise our WA office makes more money than you do out of the entirety of Jim's Group, because they take 15% off the top, and it's all theirs, plus money for buying in." So Johnny King is incredibly more lucrative business than Jim's, but I never really focused much on the bottom line. If anything, I just want my franchisees to be successful. And to be honest, I'm very surprised that it's grown as much as it has. I never expected anything like this. I mean, so I just never made money the first order of importance. I've always, all of our goals are always in terms of franchisee satisfaction, customer satisfaction, those kind of things. Those are the metrics we look at. When we reward franchisors once a year, we don't reward them for how much money they pay us. We reward them for how happy their franchisees are, based on the surveys. And if you're really, really happy, you get a diamond. That's the absolute optimum. Now, you might pay us stuff all, really, in terms of fees, but you're a diamond because you look after the franchisees so well.
That's a great question, and thanks for that one. David Rumps has gone, shout out to the team in the call centre. They do an awesome job. Thanks. Does anyone listen to the ladies in the call centre do their calls? Yep, cool. So they do a great job.
They are a great bunch in there.
They are.
In actual fact, we keep on plundering them and getting their best people out to take them for national office. So
we've had to start paying them a recruitment fee, if you want to call it, because
so many of our top people have come from the call centre. They really have. We've got some wonderful ladies from the call centre.
Jill and Becca do a great job over there, and all the ladies do as well. Samir out there, I think Samir on one of the other streams here goes, can the franchisees change their division, for example, cleaning to pest control? ?
Absolutely, yeah.
So they can change their service, for example. Like I know we've had a franchisor.
No, they changed divisions.
Yep.
We had an entire division which was interior design. And we didn't work out. We gave them all cleaning franchises, and that's quite common actually to change divisions. We've got a person now who's looking at changing from I don't know, it's carpet clean to mowing or something like that. Which is it's not uncommon. But basically, you have to get the franchisor to agree. It's not my decision unless it's my region, which it usually isn't. So as long as the franchisor agrees to it, they take them on. They just transfer them across.
Yeah, it happens a little bit. I know Don McGuinness is the original franchisor for Test and Tag, started off as Jim's Mowing franchisee.
Yeah.
Then he went across to Test and Tag. So
people jump around all the time. You've also got people who have multiple divisions. Like you've got cleaning as well as mowing, dog wash, haven't you, Rachel? Yeah, that's right. That's increasingly common.
And Samir's gone with a follow-up. If the franchisee buys many divisions, can he get a discount on his monthly fees? So he thinks if he buys multiple divisions, he can get a discount on fees.
Actually, it'd be very unusual for a franchisee to own more than one franchise because the base fee is the same, and you can actually do cross-divisional work as well. So it's almost unheard of for a franchisee to do it because we've got franchisees turning over millions of dollars a year, literally, as a franchisee with one franchise, paying a base fee of $500 a month or whatever. So it's really not necessary to own more than one franchise.
Okay, we'll go to another one here.
Yeah.
So where's Simon? Simon, front row.
Jim, you've been talking about building pests and things you use. How many do you actually use for your personal, either your house, your property, yourself?
Which is right next door to here. People don't know.
I don't know, actually. We use a lot of people at different times. Don't have any carpets when my wife's allergic, so we don't get carpet cleaning done. Get antennas to do all kinds of work for us, like wiring things up and so forth.
You need pool care in that pool of yours.
Pool care. Oh, Adam comes and does pool care. Obviously, our dog is washed. We've got a lovely lady washing our dogs. which is difficult because the dog bites. In fact, he bit me the
You've
other
got a
day.
nasty
so-
dog, you're on. It's pretty
Not
nasty.
nasty.
Oh, it's nasty. Don't worry
I
about that.
tried to turn him off the bed and he bit me. So they always put a muzzle on him. But she's really nice. She's so lovely. Who else? I don't know. I never wash my car, so I don't use that one.
Yeah, we know you don't like cars too much. You don't rate them.
No,
What are you driving at the moment? You're driving a...
just a
Synthetic Volvo.
Yeah, no, yeah, that was for a long, long time.
no,
You've upgraded now,
my
haven't you?
Volvos just fell apart.
Yeah.
I never sold a car in my life. I don't think. I just let them, I give them away or wreck them or something because they're always so crapped out. No, it's a Outlander, I think.
It's a Mitsubishi, isn't it?
Mitsubishi Outlander. Yeah.
It's an ASX. There we go, because you were in the car
How
race,
would
so
you
you would
know?
know.
Oh, you rented it today. That's right.
There we
With Squash. That's right. Yeah, I don't think it's worth very much though, is it?
I wouldn't be. No.
Give me $5,000 for it, you probably get a poor deal.
So Rachel Martin's going with another question on one of the live features. Going, when will we see Jim's app? So when will Jim's get a customer app? I say is the question.
Yeah, we talked about it. We actually have had an app, but never been used. So what IT says that they don't tend to get much of an uptake.
Yeah, app data probably doesn't lean towards it. They're called we probably prefer progressive web apps, which is online based stuff. It's always good to have a tile and stuff there, but unless it's a social app, it probably gets deleted after 90 days, which is what a lot of the data says.
Because
Now,
people don't tend to use us dozens, and it's not like Uber where every time you want to book a car, you got to go into Uber. With us, you book your dog to get washed, for example, or your lawn to get mowed, and then you do it with the franchisee direct because they're independent businesses. You wouldn't deal through the app to talk to them. But one day it might happen. Actually, that's an idea, I suppose. When we've got everybody more connected, you can actually book into your app and see when your dog's due to get washed next or something like that.
Yeah, I think the expansion of technology in the booking, we're actually working on currently a new customer booking experience. So I think that'll be pretty good. I've compared it to our other competitors, and I think it'll be very unique when that comes out. And that'll be probably implemented by the end of the year, which will replace the current customer booking at gyms.net. So that's gonna be really cool. So we got a question here. Is it from Glenn or Clem? So I couldn't read. Glenn. Sorry, Glenn. Your C's are G's, Mike. Or your G's are C's.
Another guy with a beard. Good to see.
Good Kiwi guy. Just away from the business a little bit, just about you. How many times have you been married and how many children do you have?
Great question. Great question.
That's a very sensitive question. I married 4 times and I got 10 kids.
Jim's marriage counselling wasn't around then.
No. I think Jimmy's marriage counselling would have gone bankrupt anyway, would have failed.
Yeah.
Only way I explain it, I must be extremely obnoxious. 3 different women decided they couldn't live with me. So, it gave me the boot. And 18 years ago, I found the love of my life, and somehow she puts up with me still, and we adore each other.
Yeah, we've had actually Lee, Jim's wife, on one of these live feeds, so it was a bit of a risk, but it was really good. That was probably around I think 10 shows ago. So if you go to the Facebook page and the live videos or the YouTube, there'll be one. I think it's around episode 18 or 20, and we have Lee on. Lee's great because Lee's really smart business lady as well, and Lee
she runs this place. She runs this conference center.
So Lee runs this, and they have a factory as well for trailers.
She makes trailers and
construction company as well.
Yeah, she's
so Lee does a lot of stuff, and they're very different in terms of their business ideologies. So Lee's very process driven and very, get in there and learn it and procedures and stuff like that. And whereas Jim's very ideas based. But then he goes, I've got this idea, but you sort it out. Where Lee will execute from start to finish. She'll know the ins and outs. So it's a great one.
Very, very, very complementary skills, but we fight all the time, so we can't work too close together.
Yeah, that's true. It's not. I won't go into that. I won't go into that one. That's a great question, and thanks for coming over from New Zealand. Okay, where's Stephen?
It's actually for you.
Oh, sorry.
Jim, we know you played squash this morning with Rachel. What was the final score?
Oh, I forget.
You don't forget.
No, she's very rusty. She hasn't played for 15 years. Come on, it's not a fair contest. You gave me a good run around, Rachel. That was the main thing. I came out of it and I felt a bit knackered. That's really what counts.
Some good rallies there.
Yeah, we had some really good. I couldn't believe some of the stuff she went for. You get a bit more practice, and I tell you what, you probably smashed me into the floor because you are so fit.
If you want to see Jim playing squash, go to the Facebook pages. They're actually the boys over there, Ben and Jake, did a great job of editing, and there's some nice music. Have you seen it? Some hip hop music, Jim? If you're doing some backhands and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, you made me look a lot better than I am. I think you picked all the best shots.
Yeah, we had to do
you,
that.
You didn't show all the bad ones. I mean, you do work for me, so you got some sense of what's allowed.
Well, yeah, that's true. We couldn't put the one of you falling over. You did fall over during that game, but
Yeah, I did.
yeah.
You put that one.
No, we didn't put you falling over.
No.
As you said, we would do work for you.
That's right.
That's all right.
He's very aware of his next bonus, whether he's going to get it or not. So
You
he's
don't get a
gonna-
bonus. Come on. You don't get bonuses.
That's right, that's because you behave so badly.
Well, there we go. There we go. He's taking it back before he gave one. That's all right. Okay, so where is David? We've got a great question here from a David. Great name, David, isn't it?
Great name, David.
Great name. You're not in New South Wales, are you, David? You're part of the Jim's Mowing?
Jim's Mowing in Adelaide.
Oh, great. Adelaide. Cool.
And I have to know, why is Jim's group not called Dave's group?
Well, because I'm called Jim and not Dave. When I was 17 years old, I just took a gap year and I went to work on a farm in Western Australia. And there was a boy there who was about my age called David, who was the son of the guy I worked with. And I said, call me Jim. So it stuck. It's a bit more butch. David's...
Dave? Well, you're talking to a David there. That's a Dave.
Well, you look pretty manly and masculine, but David has a sort of a... somebody who plays the piano very nicely and I don't know. It's just
The literal meaning is king.
What?
The literal meaning is king.
Is it really?
My dad's name's David, actually. I didn't tell you that before. But I'm on your side, David. The audience who are watching.
No, I don't know. I just when I left home, I wanted a bit more of a masculine, tough, rough identity.
Do you think you look like a Jim, though?
Can somebody take the spade off? Jim, he keeps digging himself in a hole.
That's my job. No, but do you think you look like a Jim? What does a Jim look like to you then?
I don't know.
Got a beard, yeah? A beard.
To me, Jim sounds like somebody. Oh, okay, Jim versus James, for example. Like, James sounds like a butler. All right.
You're a James in the front row as well.
Well, I'm just saying what it sounds like to me. I mean, I'm free to insult anybody here.
He's been doing it all week, so don't worry, we're used to it.
I mean, I'm used to insulting people. James sounds like a butler. Jim sounds like a stockman or a drover or someone like that. I don't know. That's
Can you ride a horse?
Oh yeah, I like riding horses. I'm not drive very well. I always fall off, but still, I enjoy it.
Yeah.
When I worked on this farm for a
We
while.
do have a farm though, don't you?
I actually got a horse and rode the horse. I learned to drive too, which is good.
Did you?
On the farm, yeah.
Okay, that's a new one for me. There we go. So what we're going to do now is, thanks for those questions there. What we'll do at the end is we'll go through them and we'll give a couple of books out and Jim will sign them. So what we did is we haven't asked Jim a question on our website. If you go to the Meet Jim, there's a tab there, Ask Jim a Question. And these questions, they get emailed to me. So all the people from that group, they're actually coming to me, not to Jim. But we print them out here and we read them out. So we've got a few questions here that were submitted via this. And we appreciate the people who did do this because we're going to do it every week. So the first one is from a guy called Dimmy, who's a franchise owner. So he goes, hi, it's Dimmy from Jim's Carpet Cleaning, Frankston. Some of my clients book me for jobs without even inquiring about prices. Mostly my previous clients. Is it ethical to do the job and tell them what my charges are after the job? Should I tell them beforehand what my price range is? Majority of my clients do not hesitate, but I would like your opinion on this. Thank you.
I've never done a job without telling people what they're going to charge them for. The trouble with that, mostly you'll get away with it, and sometimes they object to it. So what do you do? But I mean, Dimmy, if it works for you, do it. But I would normally always let the person know what I was going to charge them because I want people to be certain that they're happy. I know what they're going to pay, and I can make absolutely certain they're going to do I'm going to do a great job. So nothing can go wrong. But what if you charge this and they don't want to pay it, or they're unhappy about it or something, but it's too late? That's all. That's my thought. If it works for you, then do it. But I'd always give a price myself. And in writing too, if possible.
Yeah, if there's a complaint, because that's why the quote in writing is so important, right?
Yeah, because I deal with complaints all the time. I look through most complaints in Jim's group every day. I actually study them and look at what's happening and why they're happening. And I do an enormous amount of work on that sort of area. So I'm very sensitive to any kind of behaviour that could cause complaints. Even if it works 19 times out of 20, the 20 you get a complaint, I wouldn't do it.
So there we go. Thanks for that question, Dimmy. So we've got a couple of questions here, but if you're watching on the live stream, there's around 60 people watching, which is great. Put your comment or question in there and I'll be able to hopefully get to it by the end. So we have another one here from Cam Swanson. This is one I did talk about before, which is, hi, Jim and Joel. Hope you're both well. Really love the podcast and the story of Jim's, and it brought me across Jim's Plus. Would you be able to give me some more information about it? I'm from Ballarat and would love to get as many leads from Jim's as possible. Thanks, guys. Cam.
Well, one of our major problems right now is that we've got so many unserviced leads because the the demand for our services is rising a lot faster than our franchise numbers. We're still growing franchisees, but we're growing customer demand is even more, which is odd when you think about it, because we've never, ever been cheap. But there's the demand out there. So what we've actually done, because unfortunately 1 person in 4 ringing up and not being able to get service is a big negative. So what we've actually started to do effectively is to sell our surplus clients to independent operators. And they get rated in the same way. And they just pay a fee for each. They get the first 3 free. After that, they pay a fee for each one. And we also rate them. So if they don't get good ratings, we'll kick them off the system. But people like it. It's good for contractors, provided they're quality workers. Because whereas in high pages, you actually might get 5 people, a quote sent to 5 people, and they'll pick the cheapest one. With Jim's Plus, it's like Jim's. You just get sent to you and nobody else. So we don't expect you to be cheap, but we do expect you to look after our clients. And if you don't, heaven help you. So that's kind of the idea. And to be honest about it, one of the reasons we do it is because after people get used to our leads and the quality of them, we sometimes can get them to come across as franchisees. In fact, increasing number to do that. So it's in a way, it's a form of recruitment.
Thanks for that question from Cam. So we've got another one from Derek Spice, who's a current franchisee from Jim's Mungo.
Oh, yeah, I know Derek.
You know Derek very well.
How are you, Derek?
He goes, hi, where I might find the link for customer surveys and how are they presented to the customer as per your forum question? Your thoughts welcome.
I thought I sent you an email about your customer surveys like a couple of days back there.
You might have sorted it out for him between, but maybe you want to tell everyone about that?
Well, the customer surveys, basically, most customer surveys are SMSs. They're texts. And we simply ask how they rate the service, 1 terrible, 2 poor, 3 okay, 4 good but not got some problems, 5 is very good or excellent. So that's kind of like the thing. And then after that we say, would you like to make a comment? That's most of them. There is an email version, but that's not used very much these days. We specifically ask about how quickly they got back and quality of work and stuff, and whether they're wearing uniform. But most surveys are SMS these days. About 30% of clients respond. And out of that, they get a star rating, and the star rating, if it's 4.5 or above, we're happy with it.
And Derek makes use of emailing you. You always say franchisees to email you. Derek emails you. Is it once a week or
twice a week?
Twice a week. Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Sometimes.
But it's good though, because you obviously there's stuff that comes out of it.
Oh no, Derek sometimes has some ideas. He'll put something out with the system and stuff. There's some people who do email me a lot. He's one of them. I know Derek's voice. I don't know what he looks like because I know.
I'll have to show you his Facebook profile picture and you can have a look.
But I'd probably be surprised. But he emails me a lot. Some people do. But it's good. I mean, Paul King was before. He emails me a lot too, and he's actually a pain at times. But he has some pretty good ideas.
Yeah, hope Paul is watching. I know he's watching tonight.
Is he watching?
Yeah,
all right. Well, hi, Paul.
I don't think you're a pain.
I said the same thing to him actually. He is actually a pretty good franchisor, but he's always complaining about something. But he has good ideas as well.
I think you'll like that, Paul.
He's a good franchisor. He looks after his people well.
He's up on the Central Coast.
And I appreciate him.
So Renault's gone for the question on here. Jim, the internet makes it easy to increase brand recognition these days with websites and social media and email marketing. Besides letterbox drops, how did you push the front of all the other mowing guys back when you started? So how did you create work and how did you get yourself out there back in the day?
Well, initially it was me. I would just get great service. I am fanatical about service, and I found it very, very easy to pick up customers. I always have, because I do a job and I get repeats and I get referrals and people come across the street because my jobs were always great and my service was great. That was in the beginning. And in a sense, with the franchise, it's kind of like you focus on 2 things. You focus on franchisee welfare first and client service too, because obviously you look after clients who'll get more work than your franchisees will be happy. But it's kind of it's more about how to keep. The secret of franchising is mainly about how to keep your franchisees happy. Because I mean, as an example, I mean we have crushed people like Mr. Antennas. When we started Jim's Antennas, they dominated the market. They were huge, and we came up, but we had a better model. They were charging 50% of the income, and our guys were paying 12%, which is high for Jim's, but it's still a lot less. And because of that, they just couldn't compete.
Well, look at Dogwatch, how quickly they've taken, I think it was Blue Wheelers back in the day or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one of those companies, I think it was Blue Wheels, Aussie Poochmobile, Rachel might know, but they're taking like 27% fees. And our fees are more like 8%, maybe 10%. Yeah, that's what they average out at. But the other thing too was that they did an exercise where they actually, somebody rang up as a client and they said, Jim's has offered to do it for me for $50. And they said, okay, we'll do it for $25. Now, they're charging more than double the fees and they're halving the price. How on earth is the franchisee going to make money out of that? And that's just stupidity. Because if your franchisees don't get money, you've got nothing. And we're actually in Dogwatch is killing everybody on the market now. We're just booming, like we're growing like crazy, and other people are just disappearing. And to a large extent, it's simply because we've got a better deal. But it's true. And what I say to anybody who wants to buy a franchise is, don't believe me, don't believe them. Talk to the franchisees in the system and ask them what it's like. That is the best way to investigate. And that's how we beat the opposition, because somebody investigates us properly, and smart people will, and investigate the opposition, and there's no contrast. You look after your people better.
Well, the Mowing Day in the Life he did with Matt Thorpe, he called 12 franchisees on the list, which is probably one of the most I've heard of, and did his due diligence left, right, and centre. So, which is why one reason indication that he's such a good operator, because in fact we find that the more carefully somebody does their research, the better they'll tend to do. Because I mean, who's going to spend $20,000-$30,000 without spending a few hours on research? I'm amazed some people don't do their due diligence, and they should. Yeah, I think like we always give info packs and all this content online and stuff, but the best thing to do is get the document, actually call the current franchisees, or even finished ones. I know they have to be disclosed as per the disclosure. I've had people coming to see me and they've actually stopped franchisees in the street and asked them. And that's good stuff. That's really good. And I've seen it say, wow, here's somebody looks really good. I still send them out on the road and make them do their trialing and stuff, but it's a very good sign. Yeah, definitely. So thanks for that question, you. So David Baker's gone with a question which is quite appropriate after that. Jim, do you feel David Mitchell's rejection to VIP was the critical moment that provided the ignition of what we know of gyms today? Yeah, well, I mean, this is David Mitchell when I rang him up pre-franchise days and offered just to help them build, but they're never going to accept that. I was pretty naive even to offer it. I was really shaken by the whole thing. I just thought these guys will swallow me whole. And sometimes they worry about that too. When you, like another example is something like Airbnb. Now this is a massive company, and sometimes you get freaked out by it. You think these companies have got billions of dollars behind them, and we're like an ant to an elephant, but our customer service systems are so much better than anything these guys have. That's the difference, and that's why I think in the end we will beat everybody, because it doesn't matter how much money you have. What matters in the end is how well you look after the customer on the ground, and also if a franchise, how we look after your franchisees, and no amount of money will buy that. What's your general feel at the moment with, let's say, Airbnb is obviously an online player, with our competitors would be Hired Pages and Airtasker and those sort of online job aggregators, if you want to say, service seeking, for example. Yeah, well, they're all losing money as far as I know. I mean, I know High Pages has lost a fortune, and they've actually had to get investors come in. It's like the same model as Facebook and stuff in the early days. They plough a lot of money to try and establish themselves online. I mean, Jim's has been profitable ever since I was pushing a mower around myself back in 1982. I've never ever run gyms at a loss. I've often put money to other things that lost money, but gyms has always made money. Yeah, a lot of the online ones are interesting. I don't know if you know Tumblr. You probably wouldn't know Tumblr, but Tumblr's a social platform. And they got sold for $3 million, and they've got 200 employees. So what does it tell you about these platforms making money? And I know the guy, Jack Dorsey from Twitter, actually started up Square. So people know Square payment systems, because they couldn't really work out how to monetize Twitter. So a lot of these ones where they get a valuation with an IPO and they actually don't earn that much money. But I think the general sentiment we're seeing now, especially with High Pages, look at the comments with the app. I think they get everyone in on the front end, they do great digital campaigns and all that sort of stuff, and once they're in, they go, we sort of forget about it, we're just a broker between you and the contractor, and if something goes wrong, well, tough. Yeah. Well, we actually, even with Gyms Plus, we actually take that quite seriously. There was a case just this week where a client had given money to a contractor who then disappeared. And look, formally we say it's $200, but in fact we'll fix her up if she proves it. Because even the fact that she rang Gyms, even though she didn't get a Gyms person to do it, we'll still take responsibility for that. Okay, cool. So David Rump's gone for a great question here, which is, David Rump is a franchisor. He's gone, "Hi Jim, there seems to be more and more young people suffering from anxiety and depression. Will your research provide such relief in the near future? Thanks, Dave." So you want to talk about your research and then address the question.
Yes. I think it's got tremendous potential. Difficult to describe. Anybody wants some more detail? www.biohistory.org, and you can read and see some videos on there about what it's about. But basically, as far as I can tell, a lot of the problems happening in society to do with wealth and urbanization. It just causes problems with character and anxiety and depression, a lot of other things like that. And what we're developing is ways of, in a sense, countering that malign influence, making people more long-term orientated. And yes, there's been some very, very good prospects. I mean, we've shown how to actually using pheromones to make rats better mothers and more hardworking and more that kind of thing. It's a rat model. I'd like to try it myself, but they said you can't do it yet because we want to try it on rats first. But some of the pheromones are being worked out. But I think there's tremendous potential. I actually think that the key to society and economics and history is character. And I think if we can understand character better, which I believe I've got a good understanding of doing, and we can change character, then everything else will improve greatly.
And what about your actually ISN clinic? Do you have a free clinic there for people, or is it you doing, because you obviously want to put more psychologists and more people in the field. You have your own university per se.
Effectively, yeah. It's not legally university, but yeah, we do master's students and we grant degrees in psychology. It's yeah. Well, that's part of the whole exercise, and it's all involved with the research program. I'm spending about $1 million a year on research in these areas, and I expect some very exciting results to come out of it, which could easily be very commercial. But the whole idea is I can use it to fund the research.
Well, I think we're going to do a podcast tomorrow dedicated to this. So when we release that, it's going to be a bit longer. We're going to go into a lot more detail about that. So that's going to be good. Thanks for that question, David. And Jim's Mobile Tyres has gone here. Hi, Joel. Please let everyone know that Jim's Mobile Tyres is having an open night from 6 p.m. on the 9th of October. I think I posted it to the page as well, and I think that's in Footscray. So if you're interested in Jim's Mobile Tyres, I think we've got the whole car nearly covered. We've got mobile mechanics. That's from Jim's Mobile Tyres.
What's his name?
I think it's Reese, is it? Reese from Jim's Mobile Tyres? Sorry, Reese, if I get your name wrong, put it in there. Is it Reese?
Chris.
Is it Chris from Jim's Mobile Tyres? It is Chris. Sorry, apologies. So it's Chris from Jim's Mobile Tyres. So
I had Ryan from Jim's Mobile Tyres give me a new tyre the other day. I got a car was wrecked and I got stuck at the church. And he fixed it for me.
So there you go. Good endorsement from Jim himself for Jim's Mobile Tyres.
I've used mobile tyres and batteries. That's another couple that I've used just recently.
Batteries as well? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he came to do. I was talking with him actually after my 1 month letter, and so he responded. We were chatting about that, and I said, "Well, our bus for the conference centre needs a new battery. It's gone dead. Could you come and fix that for us?" So I came out and did it. It's good.
You think a Jim though might be able to do that? Very handy sort of name, Jim.
No, I'm not handy at all. Around our house, my wife is the handy one. She's a lot more handy. I mean, she runs a building business, for heaven's sake. You should be handy when you do that. I'm just all thumbs.
I think David's handy though.
There we go. David's a handy name. That's it. So here we go. We've got another one from Ken Deal, which is, can I ask, most franchise models are hitting the wall. The Jim's group of franchisees seem to be growing and look happy doing so. Question mark. More of a comment and observation. So why do you think Jim's is a bit different to, obviously there's a lot of press regarding franchising at the moment?
Yeah, well, I know. The retail food group ones have gone, they've fallen like a stone. But I've even Subway, it's not doing very well. They've lost
Subway's been in a lot of the press lately, Subway.
They've gone
their model's pretty... Nando's as well. There's a lot of grief with Nando's.
Yeah.
The problem seems to be with fit-outs, forced fit-outs and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. I think the principle behind Jim's is that it's very protective of franchisee rights, more than anything, and the kind of things that you can do at those kind of companies, like we can't even change our manual without the franchisee's permission. Our franchisees can vote us out as regionals, as divisionals. There's so many protections in the contract, and the problem with a lot of these companies is that they sort of think that because they're the franchisor they can act like they like, and legally they can, but franchisees don't like it, and that's what hurts. To me, everything is about franchisee satisfaction, and I think that's why we continue to grow. It's just that model of service and that attitude that says franchisees are number one, and it's a moral attitude, but it's also a very practical business attitude too. That you try screwing people for money, you'll get more money in the short term. You know, somebody could take over gyms and they could run in a different way, and they would double the profit in no time at all. There's ways of doing it, but you'd hurt interests of franchisees, it hurts your long-term benefits.
Seems to be if they're publicly listed as like some sort of group, that's where the trouble is, you know?
Yeah.
As soon as they're publicly listed and they're duties to the shareholders, it changes some of the franchisees to the shareholders' profits and all that sort of stuff.
They chase the next quarter's earnings, which is a terrible way to run any business. You've got to think long-term. I was looking at one stage about going public, but no, just a lot of fuss in it. There's better ways to raise money if we need it.
Yeah, thanks for that question, Ken, which was submitted via the Ask Jim. Now what we're going to do is we're going to give away the signed book. So I'm going to pick one at the start because I know he said Jim's Plus, but I wanted to come to Jim. So I'm going to give him this one, which is Cam Swanson. So I'm going to send that one to you. I'm going to get your details, mate. So if you're watching that, please DM on our Facebook page your address, Cam, and I'll get that one signed to you. Now, Jim, these three ones here. 2 of Jim's book and your bio history one. So which questions from the people in the audience tonight did you like? Or did you want to give a book to?
Well, I like the question about mental illness.
Okay.
Obviously, that's a great question because that's a great passion of mine. We're very concerned about that kind of issue.
Cool. All right. What else did you like?
I don't know, the question about divorce was pretty interesting.
All right, that's good. Yeah, that's pretty
How many children you have?
Yeah.
Yeah, why not? Yeah. Ask the hard ones. I don't mind answering.
Okay, so I'm just going to...
It's a bit shameful, I admit, but, you know, I'm just obnoxious. That's my problem. So, as you probably worked out tonight anyway.
It was from Glenn. How many wives have you had? That was a good one.
How many wives have I had?
Yeah.
Not at the same time, though. I have the one after the other.
Yeah, we'll leave that one where it is. That's all right. Okay. All right, so I'll get them signed, and I'm going to give this biohistory one to David. Poor old David. David's a good name, David. So I'm going to we'll give you that one signed as well.
I hope you don't feel insulted by what I said. I abandoned your name. I'm sure you're fond of your name. But,
yeah, there you go. Someone's got it.
All right, so we'll leave it there, guys. So thank you for everyone who hanged around, and at the training we do really appreciate you and your questions tonight. And thanks everyone who watched on the live stream and interacted on the live feed. We appreciate it. We do these every Wednesday from 7 o'clock. So next week we'll be back in the office with a couple of guests from, I think, Test and Tag and Fencing. So we haven't had anyone from those divisions on yet. So that's going to be
Tag and Fencing. Test and Tag. Test and Tag up the back there.
Test and Tag. Yeah, there'll be a Test and Tag franchisor and Fencing.
Great division, Test and Tag. Really good. It's got actually the lowest attrition rate.
Handyman, Handyman's great. Yeah.
Handyman is good too, but Test and Tag has got the lowest attrition of any division within Grimm's Group. People last the longest.
Yeah.
We don't let you go. We don't let you go. We plug you in.
So that'll be from next week from 7 o'clock, which will be good. We release a lot of content via the Jim's Group pages, so make sure you follow the Jim's Group Facebook page and YouTube as well. We're releasing around 2 to 3 videos a day and podcasts and that sort of stuff. So we appreciate everyone watching online. And if you do want to ask Jim a question, head to the Jims.net site. There's a Meet Jim tab. Click Ask Jim, and those questions come through. Bear in mind, they don't go directly to Jim. They do come to me. So if you want to have a go at Jim, Jim@jims.net. Okay, so make sure you submit a question via that. Thanks for tonight, Jim.
Thank you for having a go at me.
No, it's all right. It's all right. We've got to give it back. So, Jim's, before we go, it goes, see, Joel, you can control him. I can't control him, Mary. That's fine. Jim's his own man. All right, so thanks, everyone, for watching. We'll leave it there, guys. So, I appreciate Jake and Ben with this setup, and thanks for hanging around.
And
see you
everybody
next week.
Thank you.
Thank you for hanging around.